You probably buried a version of yourself a long time ago. Somewhere between raising children, losing someone, and finally getting the house quiet enough to hear your own thoughts, you decided that wanting someone again wasn't for you anymore. But a name keeps finding its way back into your day. Not through a phone, through smaller things. The smell of coffee made a certain way, a joke only they would understand, a silence that feels comfortable instead of empty. You've told yourself it's nothing. It isn't nothing. After 60, the mind doesn't invent these feelings out of loneliness, it remembers them out of evidence. Today, we're looking at 3 signs that this feeling is real, and one more thing almost nobody says out loud. Wanting someone again doesn't erase who came before you, and it doesn't cost you the independence you worked so hard to build. Let's start with the first sign. 1. Their memory doesn't need a phone to reach you. Picture this. You're stirring your coffee on a random Tuesday, half listening to the radio, and out of nowhere his laugh surfaces in your mind. So clearly you can almost hear it. You didn't think about him yesterday. You're not even sure why he showed up today. That's the first sign, and it has nothing to do with effort. It has everything to do with something else. At 20, this kind of pull usually needs fuel. A text, a photo, a reason to keep checking your phone. At 60, it runs on something older and quieter, memory that was built slowly, over years, not manufactured overnight by a few weeks of messaging. Your memory of him didn't need a notification to survive. It needed only time, and apparently, it had plenty. Adults tend to recall memories from emotionally significant periods far more vividly than recent, ordinary ones. A conversation from 15 years ago can feel closer than something that happened last Tuesday. That's not nostalgia playing tricks on you. That's your mind treating real evidence as real evidence. I want to be direct with you. When his presence follows you through a grocery store, a favorite song, the specific way he used to pour tea, that isn't a symptom of loneliness. It's the opposite. A lonely mind grasps at anything. Your mind is choosing him, specifically, again and again, because something in that memory still matters. The feelings that survive decades don't survive by accident. If it were nothing, your mind would have let it go by now. It hasn't. Ask yourself honestly, how many people from your past could still make coffee taste different just by walking into the room? Not everyone gets that kind of staying power in someone's mind. Very few names earn that kind of return visit. He did. But noticing him in your thoughts is one thing. Admitting it out loud is another matter entirely, and that's where the real hesitation begins. The fear isn't rejection anymore, it's complication. What are you actually afraid of? Not the loud kind of fear either, not of him saying no. You've survived worse than a no. Ask any woman over 60 what scares her about wanting someone again, and rejection rarely makes the list. What she's afraid of is everything a yes would set in motion. A yes means explaining a new name at Thanksgiving. It means her daughter's eyebrow raised half an inch too high. It means renegotiating a life she spent 15 years rebuilding alone, room by room, decision by decision, until it finally stopped hurting to walk through the front door. Watch for it. She rereads a text 3 times before deciding not to send it. She changes the subject when her sister asks who she's been texting. She mentions him to no one, not even her closest friend, because saying his name out loud might make it real. That's not caution. That's fear wearing caution's clothes. I've watched women choose loneliness over that conversation more times than I can count. Not because they preferred being alone. Because being alone, at least, was familiar. Complication wasn't. I think of a woman who kept her late husband's reading glasses on the nightstand for 6 years, untouched, exactly where he left them. She started looking forward to Tuesday coffee with a man from her church group and told absolutely no one for 3 more months. Not her sister, not her closest friend. She was terrified that saying it out loud would make her disloyal to a man who had been gone for years. I'll say what I actually think. Protecting a hard-won peace is not the same as protecting yourself from pain. One is wisdom. The other is a well-dressed excuse. You know the difference in your own chest even when you don't say it out loud. He isn't asking you to blow up your life. He's asking for a seat at a table you already built. That's not complicated. That's addition. Notice what your hands do the next time his name comes up in conversation. They'll tell you which one this is. Fear like that doesn't disappear just because you've named it. What finally quiets it is understanding why you're really reaching for him in the first place. Choosing from wholeness, not loneliness. Ask a 25-year-old why she wants a boyfriend, and she'll probably say something about not wanting to be alone. That's normal at 25. Ask a 68-year-old widow why she can't stop thinking about the man from her book club. And if she's honest with you, loneliness rarely tops her list either. I think that's the part people get backwards. They assume a woman past 60 who falls for someone is running from an empty house. Sometimes she is, but more often, she isn't running from anything. She's simply choosing to add someone to a life that was already working just fine without him. You can usually tell the difference by looking at what happens when he's not around. A lonely woman waits, scrolls, wonders. A whole woman goes on with her Tuesday, plants her garden, meets her friends for lunch, and simply smiles a little wider when his name comes up. I have seen a version of this story more times than I can count. A woman finally stops dreading her own company. She takes up painting, or joins a hiking group, or just learns to enjoy dinner for one without apologizing for it. And it's exactly then, once she stops needing anyone, that someone worth having shows up. That timing isn't a coincidence. A woman choosing from loneliness will settle for the first warm body who calls her back. A woman choosing from wholeness asks harder questions, walks away faster from the wrong ones, and knows precisely what she's adding to her life instead of what she's using to fill it. I stand firmly on one side of this. Wanting someone is not the same as needing someone, and the difference matters more after 60 than it ever did at 25, because you finally have the self-respect to tell them apart. So ask yourself honestly, if this connection never went anywhere, would your life still be good tomorrow morning? If the answer is yes, you're not lonely. You're simply making room for one more good thing. Knowing your own motive settles one kind of doubt. What's still waiting underneath it is a quieter fear, one most women never say out loud, not even to themselves. Loving again doesn't erase who came before. 3 fears sit underneath everything we've talked about so far, and almost nobody says them out loud. Let me say them for you. You're afraid loving him means loving your husband less. You're afraid your children will look at you differently. You're afraid that letting someone in will somehow cost you the independence you spent years rebuilding. I've heard some version of all 3, more than once, always in a lowered voice, like a confession. Let's take them one at a time. Loving him does not erase your husband. I want to explain why I believe that, not just tell you. Grief and love were never actually in competition. They only feel that way because we're taught love is a fixed pie. One person gets a slice, and giving someone else a piece means someone loses theirs. But love isn't food. It's not divided when it's shared, it's multiplied. Your husband doesn't disappear because your heart made room for someone else. He simply moves to a different room in the same house, one you still visit whenever you choose. Your children's opinions matter to you. I understand that. But their comfort was never meant to outlive your happiness, and somewhere along the way, you may have confused the two. Maybe your daughter goes quiet when you mention his name. Maybe she asks careful, clinical questions instead of warm ones. That reaction is about her own fear of loss, not a verdict on your right to feel this. As for your independence, listen carefully. Nobody can take it from you unless you hand it over, and choosing to love someone is not the same as handing anything over. Independence was never about being alone. It was about never needing anyone's permission to choose for yourself. This is still your choice. You built this life with your own two hands. Loving him again doesn't undo a single thing you built. It just means you're no longer building alone. So there they are, 3 signs and one truth underneath all of them. Your mind doesn't return to him by accident. Your fear isn't about being rejected. It's about disrupting a life you're proud of. What draws you to him comes from wholeness, not emptiness. And loving him again doesn't erase anyone or cost you anything you built. You're not too old for this to be real. You're finally old enough to trust it. If any of this sounded like your own life, I'd genuinely like to know. Tell me in the comments, what's the memory that still makes your heart skip a beat even after all these years? You can share as much or as little as you want. This is a safe place. If this found you at the right moment, stay a little longer. There's more where this came from. I'll see you in the next one.